Hey Flosstube, it's Lori of Mischievous Stitches, and I'm back again this weekend to share with you what I've been up to this past week, a few new patterns, and a start that's on the horizon. So this past week I've continued to work on The Fall by Barbara Anna Designs. This year my goal was to stitch monogamously on patterns until I finished them and to get my whip number down. This was actually a new start for leap year 2020, and here's where I am with The Fall by Barbara Anna Designs. It's the story of Adam and Eve in the garden. I had finished page 1, which was all the words, and there's another big chunk of words on the other side of the center motif, which is going to be a house and clouds and some cherubs and stars and all that. But bright, happy colors. I'm very happy with my progress. I will say words do go very fast, but they're just kind of, well, monotonous. I know I'm monogamous stitching, but those letters were pretty monotonous. Just go on and on forever. But page 1 is done. I can move into that fun center part. Once again, this is stitched with a call for threads, DMC threads on 40 count Ren. I picture this plus. And I'm stitching 1 strand over 2 linen threads. These are the colors here. Let me pet them a little bit. I got one of the, we've got rules now, and one of the rules is to have a floss ring. And this is a floss ring that I got from Becky, Socks for Mom. There's a sweet little rose, and then there's a picture of Rose Quaker. So that is the one I finished and shared with you on my last video. So thanks again, thanks to everyone that cheered me on and was just as excited of that finish as I was. I did take that piece to the framer this week and had a mishap. As I've got it laid out on the framing table, I realized that I had forgotten a letter. So I had to turn around. I did get a quote with the frame because I found the perfect frame. What I thought was a perfect frame. It's a silver with just some brown undertones, or I would guess to show that it was kind of aged, and it was just what I had pictured in my mind. So I was very happy with that, and I got a quote for it. And I came home, and that night I put that D in that bottom left-hand corner, and I had my husband drop it off up there for me a couple days later, because right after dropping it off, I got really sick, had a little sinus issues going on, and so pardon me if I sound a little more husky than normal, but it's lingering a little bit. But anyway, so here are the threads once again. Like I said, the floss ring is of Rose Quaker, and that's from Becky of Socks for Mom. She has an Etsy shop that I'll link below, and these are my very ratty threads from The Fall. And these are the floss, what do you call them? Floss tags, floss drops that I made. And you can see they're all St. Patty's Day themed because I'm stitching this here near St. Patty's Day. So I'm going to continue to work on The Fall this week. And here it is again. And hopefully have a finish on page 2 before I visit with you next. I'm not so sure about that though, and I say that because the center motif has, the clouds and the cherubs and stars, but it's pretty full coverage sections, and the house as well. I did take a look at the pattern for the house last night, and the roof is covered, but the house itself, thank goodness, is every other stitch in a checkerboard type pattern. And they're more solid colors, so I'm not going to be switching colors as much once I drop down to the house. I did get one of the edgings put onto the house last night, but I needed that to help me remember that I had a mistake somewhere already. But I wasn't pulling everything out to get, I wasn't pulling 2 or 3 days worth out just to fix that mistake. So we're fudging it, and I've got little post-it notes all over my chart. So anywhoosie. This past week, I also showed you a piece I was wanting to get finished before this month, and it is Queen Bee by Heartstring Samplery, and here's the piece. I trimmed it down a little, but this is the piece, and the chart comes with a template for the whole alphabet so that you can put your initial inside the green star. And so I finished this up, and I'd like to have it finished up if I possibly can this month, but I've got the little limitations right now. But I will say I got some comments from a couple of stitchers. Allison Stitches and Sandpiper CA left a comment and reminded me that I could just sew some fabric onto the side so that I could get that on my hoop so that I could get it finished. And once that was done, it only took, I had help with getting it sewed on, but once that was done, it only took an evening, and I was finished with that piece. So here's again is the finish. And I got this at a retreat last year. And also with the treat, we got little gifties, and some of the gifties come in this paper. Now I have used this, I just call it gift paper, that when you putting things in bags as gifts, you can make it just look pretty with all this fancy, really thin gift paper. And so my first idea was to take this paper and put it on a paper mache box. Hold on just a second. And maybe put the yellow on the bottom or the green on the bottom and the yellow on the lid. That was my original idea. And then once I finished it up and I held this up, let me hold it up with the papers. Papers are so much more loud to me than the piece. So I thought, well, I could maybe Mod Podge the paper onto the paper mache box and then use the brie wax, hoping that it would age it a bit, which it may. Or I could just take and finish the piece on the lid. Or I could take the lid, flip it over, paint it, and wax it, forget about the paper, and finish it that way. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Because of my limitations, I think it's going to be easier just to paint this and wax this but these are just my ideas. I may get some help. And then I have on the cover of the pattern, Beth uses rickrack around the edges with the pom-pom inside of between the rickrack and the piece. So, but she had 2 yellows, and of course the yellow pom-poms, the mini pom-poms that were on her pattern was the same color as the rickrack, and I could not find that. The yellow pom-poms were very, very bright. So anyway, this is a coming finish. It may not be the next video, but I hope to have this finished within a month, 2 months. And so those are just my ideas. Now, if I do just paint the lid, I did not share. I'm just going to paint it brown and then wax it. So you may have opinions on that. What do you think honestly would look better? Just as a pincushion inside the lid with the brown and have it waxed and maybe sandpaper to age it? Or would it look better using the papers on here with the piece finished on top? Give me your ideas. Okay. So I needed some toner. I'm always needing ink and toner. And we were out of color. So my husband ordered it, and it came in through Amazon this week. And so I have a few things that were downloaded from online that I had just waiting in my email box he knew nothing about. But this is 18th century Scottish style sampler. I got this off of Etsy. And I did not print this one in color because it was a book. So ordered this off of Etsy, and I'll put the link below. And it's less than 10 colors. It's yellows and greens and browns. Just my thing. And I really like it. And then there were a couple of Sub Rosa designs that I had purchased and hadn't downloaded yet to print yet. And one is Polly Brown. Love those reds and those browns in that house. They just make me happy. But this one makes me really happy. This is Rose Hamilton Sampler, also by Sub Rosa. And once again, Sub Rosa is on Etsy as well. I love those reds and browns, and I think you've either got some blue-gray or so right there at the end. It just makes me happy. It's a happy stitch. And then this week, excuse me, I have been watching a little bit of Flosstube, and I was watching Cross My Stitches, Jackie. And I don't know if it's her most recent video. It just happened to pop up because her friend Peg was in this particular video I'm talking about, and she showed some of her finishes, and I knew I had something similar, if not the same pattern. So I dug through my stash, and I found this, which is Alphabet Zoo by Blue Ribbon Designs. And it is not the same one that Peg showed in Jackie's video. Once again, Cross My Stitches. The one she had was a Rosewood Manor version. It was really, really large. This one finishes, I have a 40 count piece of course, Platinum Newcastle, because that's my go-to fabric. And it is, on 40 count, it would be 12 3/4, so maybe we'll say 13 by 8 1/4. So 8 1/4 wide by 13. And it calls for Cranberry Classic Color Works, which I'm waiting on 2 more strands to come in. And this cranberry would look really good on this Newcastle. It's showing more red in this video than it is. It is indeed cranberry, so it's more of a dark garnet than it is red. And then I got some really good news, and I decided to change it up. And instead of doing the cranberry, I am just going to do DMC. I'm going to use DMC 3362 on this Newcastle to stitch this for Alphabet Zoo again. Won't that be nice? And I say that because green is gender neutral. I tell you, God is good. My daughter Jordan is due in September on the 21st with a grandchild. So I think my monogamous 2020 is out the door, because probably from here on out it's going to be all about stitching for the baby. And when I've got good use of my hands again, it's going to be all about crocheted baby blankets and sewing quilts for the crib. And I'm just full of joy right now, and I just wanted to share it. I'm so excited. Just can't tell you how excited I am. Maybe some of you know, but I'm just extremely excited. So, once again, so this coming week, this past week, I didn't show the picture, but this, going back a bit, I gave y'all that shock. Now I'm switching back to my piece that I'm working on. This is Barbara Anna Designs The Fall, if you didn't see that. So I have worked on the left-hand side words, and I'm going back to the center. So that'll be page 2. And I have one more thing to share with you today. My mom is in the midst of spring cleaning, and for me, it's not just about cleaning, it's about cleaning out and Once again, I'm a little bit limited, but I do have a big, strong man that helps me out pretty good. My mom, on the other hand, her cleaning this year is getting things out of her house that belong to her girls and taking it to her girls. And she brought this dress that she had kept that was mine as a little girl. And I don't know, maybe I was, 6, 7. I remember the dress. I didn't know she still had it. I noticed some of the elastics gone in the sleeves, that kind of thing. But when I show it to you, you're going to know what era I'm at. This is, I don't know whether you would call this a shawl. Here, let me show you. Let me see the fabric to tie around the neck. And the little collar, the lace down the front. I love the colors in it. I think it's beautiful even now. Does it look like something Half Pint would wear? Please don't say it looks like something Nellie would wear. No one liked Nellie, or I never liked Nellie. Little flash from the past. I don't know what I'll do with it. One hand, I want to keep it because I want to keep it, and another hand, you know, it'll just be taking up space. I don't know that anyone would wear it, but you know, I might have someone wants to dress up one day. Anywho, you all have a wonderful coming week. Cross all the X's, and thanks for visiting with me today. Hugs and stitches. Bye-bye.